I don't know a better way of phrasing this, and I don't want it to come across as being braggadocious or somehow just bigging myself up, but I don't really, wait until the beginning of a new week, and then especially because given the time of year, people waiting until, just a new year, new me. I just wait for things. I just wait for just arbitrary dates on the calendar in order to make big changing life decisions, okay? You know how quickly decisions and changes can be made in your life? Like that, okay? So if I think of something that I want to change in my life, I do it right now, okay? This very moment. It was a decision to make this video here, and I think that it's fairly important, definitely considering a lot of those people who are be making, some big changes in their life in the coming weeks, okay? Just as the calendar turns over to another year, that's their decision. They can do that. However I live my life is up to me, and I can't enforce that on anybody else as much as I'd like it to and think that would lead to a better society. But we can't have that now, can we? But also, and then a couple of weeks removed from that, we're going to have a lot of people dropping off from those changes. So why we don't stick to things? Because things are hard. You might want them, okay? But then you start to fall back into old practices. So here are 10 reasons why we give up and what we can do about them. We all do it in some form. Really? Okay. We tell ourselves we're going to do something and then end up not sticking to the plan. Follow the plan. Trust the plan. Ugh. Yeah, this is the reason of New Year's resolutions is upon us. If you still participate in that old practice, you're better than some other people, okay? Like if you do one of those like weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannually, and then annually revisiting your life, seeing how much you've changed in the previous year, that's totally fine, okay? But if you keep trying to make those, I just want to lose 20 pounds, but if you don't have a proper policy, if you don't have a proper plan in order to achieve that, it's just going to be the same goal year after year. It's going to be the same resolution. I'm just going to eat better and I'm going to just start to exercise more. Cool. I too love to hear and like to set vacuous ideas for how I want to live my life. Well, I don't, but you know what? Hey, that's how the story goes. Maybe some of these scenarios will sound familiar to you. You can try to stick to a certain diet, end up breaking it in a day, and then abandon it. Oh no, I just fell off the wagon. I can just get back on. Oh, it's Thursday. Okay, you know what? I'll just be bad for the weekend, but then I'll just get back on Monday, and then by Tuesday, oh no, I just screwed up. Oh well, it's not for me. Whatever. I'll just put on another 10 pounds in my pursuit of losing 20. Makes sense, right? Try to work hard on a project and stop procrastinating, and then you get distracted and your plans fail because you have the attention span of a gnat. You try to meditate, do yoga, read, exercise every morning, and then one morning you're in a rush. You just can't afford an alarm clock. They're $20 and you can literally buy them anywhere. Anyways, every morning, and then one morning you get into a rush or tired and skip it, and then you skip it again the next day, and eventually you quit because you're lazy and stupid. You aim to stay on top of your email. No. That's dumb. Set one day a week and then just answer it all then. Or finally tackle that clutter. No. But your plan doesn't even get off the ground because you're lazy and stupid with no discipline. So what's going on? Are we just lazy people with no discipline? Do I have to finish this video? Maybe I can be lazy with the video? No, anyways. Are we destined to spend our whole life eating junk food, watching Netflix, and hating ourselves? Well, if you still have a Netflix account after they released Cuties, you probably do hate yourself. Anyways, I found this a fascinating subject. So did I. Glad we had similar thoughts there, Leo. Can we be friends? And I've been observing it myself, and in the thousands of people I've worked with, here's what I've found. We don't stick to our plans. Why don't we do that? Do you have a top 10 list? We don't take it seriously. This is my number one problem in the area. I tell myself I'm going to stick to a new plan, assume that that's enough to make it happen. I somehow think it's going to be easy, despite all the past evidence that shows I only succeed when I take goals seriously and put in the effort. When we half commit to something, like being half pregnant, right? Whatever. To something, it's like only being half in a relationship. That's fine. Then you just pay her to leave. With that kind of commitment, sooner or later, it will fail. We just forget. Well, if you're trying to make conscious decisions in life, I don't know how you'd forget about it, but whatever. We tell ourselves we're going to meditate every day with complete resolve. That's why you write it down. That's why you plan out your day, damn it. Then the morning comes and we just plain forget. Okay, whatever. We remember later, but we're busy then. You think that you're busy then. The next morning, we forget again. By the time we remember, we feel disappointed with ourselves and give up. Yeah, shame, self-shame. You're stupid for doing that. We run from discomfort or uncertainty. When the new habit gets uncomfortable, we stop enjoying it and make up excuses to put it off. That's why the whole motivation craze, all of those motivational videos that are out there, they're just stupid. You have to have a reason. You have to have, and it's one of my least favorite books, but it's a really catchy title. You have to have a why, okay? You have to know why you're doing something, okay? And then once you have a purpose, once you have a goal in mind, and then you can couch it in responsibility, you can couch it in a certain definitive statement as to why you're doing something. There you go. You have your reason for doing it, okay? You don't just have, I feel good about doing this right now, because guess what? That will wane in a couple of days, a couple of weeks. It will eventually become too difficult for you. And if you don't have a concrete reason as to why, there it is again, why you're doing something, you will eventually fail. It sucks, but that's the way it is. When we face a challenge like exercise or big tasks at work, there's a lot of discomfort involved, so we find reasons to put it off. We don't like uncertainty and discomfort, so we try to get out of it. That's why you need to have that. Why? Given to temptation out of habit. Yes, slipping back into old habits. Temptations are all around us. The temptation of chocolate cake when we're on a diet. Don't buy chocolate cake. Get rid of those ingredients from your house if you're trying to go on a diet. Simple tip. The temptation of TV when we're trying to go to bed early. Yeah, remove electronics from your room if you're trying to get off of TV and you're trying to manage your screen time. Temptation of the internet when we tend to meditate. Reasons, again, see previous example. Our habitual response is to just give in, rationalize, and let the temptation rule over our choices. That's why you be proactive about it. And again, see the previous discomfort and uncertainty. I don't know why that was a difficult word to say. The whole have a why. And then, you know what, the temptation, you know what, if it's a strong enough why, no temptation can chip away at that foundation. We rationalize giving in. That sounds like it's just, once again, revisiting the same point. Let's see if he has some different explanations here. When something gets difficult, our mind starts to rationalize that, why it's okay to give up or give in. Our brains can be very, very good at rationalizing. Yes, indeedy. Just one more won't hurt, or you've worked hard, you deserve it, or it's a special occasion, this is an exception. Those are all sound reasonable, except they sabotage our plans. And yes, self-sabotage is a huge problem with a lot of people. Once we start to believe these rationalizations, sticking to anything goes out the door. That's why you've got to be reminded. That's why you got to write down your goals. That's why you have to revisit your goals. Make sure that you are on the same track that you set yourself on to begin with. You renegotiate. Interesting. It sounds exactly the same thing. When the moment comes to do something difficult, we negotiate with ourselves and say, well, I'm still going to do it, but in 5 minutes after I check my messages, or I'm tired right now, I'll just take a day off and do it tomorrow. Well, you suck. Stop doing that. Stop making excuses for yourself. It's another form of rationalization, a habitual response to avoid doing something. And the habit of renegotiating with ourselves erodes self-discipline and trust in ourselves. Exactly. And if you can't trust yourself, you can't trust anybody. We avoid things we dislike. Yeah, well, sometimes things suck, but if they're in service of a greater goal, they're worth it. So embrace the suck. Memento mori, okay? Remember, we will die. Remember, nothing lasts forever. So if things suck right now, plow through it. You have no idea how much power you have. Most people who think I'm giving it 100%, somewhere around 40, you're walling off a bunch of potential. But another topic for another time. If you don't want to face an uncomfortable task, put it off. Might seem natural, but it's not natural. It's anything but. It's a Mr. Olympia stage of natural. But the problem is that every habit or difficult project, we're going to find multiple moments of discomfort or disliking the experience. We'll never stick to anything if we bail as soon as we dislike something. Instead, we have to see the habit of disliking, judging, resenting, mentally complaining, and avoiding is hurting us. Yes, complaining is contagious and complaining is worthless. It's absolutely worthless. Unless you take action on it, then you're not complaining anymore. You're making changes. We don't need to like everything about an experience in order to commit to it. We're stronger than that. Exactly. I love that. We forget why it's important. That's why you need to revisit what you're doing. Write stuff down. Okay? I like the whole tactile approach of physically writing stuff down, but audio recordings, okay, or just a notepad on your phone, feel free to use all of that type of stuff to keep track of what you're doing. Maybe you started out taking a new habit seriously, but then a week in, you've forgotten why. You're just thinking about how uncomfortable it is. If we forget the importance of the task, we won't have a good reason to push into discomfort. If there's something doesn't really matter to us, we shouldn't commit to it in the first place. We get down on ourselves. When we falter, we don't meet our ideals or expectations. It's actually not a big deal. We just learn from it and start again. That's why you have to revisit your goals, okay? I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Well, I think I'm in good company here. That's why I have to go back and refine what's not working for you. If you're exercising, okay, in the morning, and you're not liking it and you're finding it too difficult to stick to, maybe try exercising in the evening. Maybe try exercising after work. Maybe that'll work better for you. There's little changes that you can make, okay? It's not the solution, I can guarantee you, is not stop exercising. Nobody's ever accomplished their goals based on that, unless they're like Homer Simpson. What is that, season 3, where he tries to get disability by getting to be 300 pounds? But again, that's a very specific situation, but a good reference nonetheless. We often beat ourselves up, feeling extremely disappointed in ourselves. This isn't helpful and can sabotage our efforts and motivation. Yeah, you should be strict on yourself, but not cruel. If you know the difference, then you can succeed. There are too many barriers. You're just complaining too much. This is a big problem with most things we want to stick to. Even small barriers are too big when when we're tired, rushed, or don't feel like doing anything. Driving 20 minutes to the gym, having to declutter the living room before you meditate, having a lot of distractions where you work, anything that requires more than 5 minutes of prep time before we can get started can be too high of a barrier. Yeah, complain more. That'll make you accomplish things. Well, I'm not going to break down the rest of these points. That just seems preposterous. How to get better at sticking to plans. Take your goals seriously. Yep. Make sure you don't forget. Relish the discomfort and uncertainty. I'm going to stop on this one for a minute. It's the mental cookie jar theory. It's something that was put forward by David Goggins. If you listen to anything that he talks about, former U.S. Navy SEAL who lost 106 pounds in order to go to Navy SEAL training in a month. Had a horrible childhood, and he's just one of the hardest men on earth, who ran a marathon or ultra marathon for like 100 straight weeks. He's an incredible man with an incredible life story, and it's all about adding little things to that mental cookie jar. Whenever something sucks, you can always just go back into your mind and you can dig it out whenever you need that little bit of inspiration. You just need to add to that. You need to know how far you can push yourself, because if something sucks right now and you can find a way to push through it, you can always just look back at that and be like, when that sucked? Remember when it was 40 below and you really didn't want to go outside and you didn't want to go for a run, but then you did it? And you did it with grace and excellence? Well, guess what? Tougher than you thought you could be. See temptation as a signal to practice. Exactly. Don't give in. Make yourself strong. Set boundaries to recognize your rationalizations. And again, same reason. Don't negotiate in the moment. The same thing. Okay. See the opportunity as a gift. Exactly. Things don't happen to you. They happen for you. For you to learn from. For you to grow from. Reconnect with what's important. Again, revisit your goals. Okay, write them down, make it concrete, go back and refine and practice those. Practice self-compassion. Yeah, be strict with yourself. Don't be a dick to yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Remove as many barriers as you can. Yeah, basically, you could just sum that up with stop complaining. I believe that if we implement these steps, we can be much more successful at sticking to new habits. That's why you stick to the rest of the month, the rest of the year, just the rest of the week, okay? And then reevaluate and see if there's any things that you could foresee as being an obstacle in the future. Get ahead of it, okay? And you'll find that you're probably sticking to your new changes, okay? And you know what? Hey, if you want to wait until the end of the year, you think that you have a bunch of different things that are going to prevent you from making life-altering, life-improving changes for a couple of weeks. Okay, cool. You'll eventually see the follies with your ways. But yeah, if you want to make a big list of New Year's resolutions, go ahead, be my guest. But employ some of these tactics that we talked about, okay? Revisit this list. I'll link to the article as always if you think that it's something that you might be finding as being useful and important, and I hope that you did, and hopefully my commentary over the top of it also helps you make those decisions and make those changes, and that you can make 2022 one hell of a year, or maybe just the end of the week, or maybe just Wednesday, a better day in your life. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.